What's up, Chris?
What's up?
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays. Like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. Network. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to All Sports All Plays Network. My name's Will. Alongside with me today are Chris and Coach Cam. How are we doing today, fellas?
Man, I can't complain. You know, I've been chilling today. Got a good workout in. Ever since then, I've just been relaxing.
Coach Cam, how you hanging?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, man. Ready to get the show started and ready to talk some sports. Let's get it.
Yes, sir.
All right. Yes, sir. We're missing Freddie today, but that doesn't matter. Show goes on. We got to keep the things moving out here. But before we do, we got a lot of topics that we're going to get into today. But first, Coach Cam, I'm going to come to you. We need a word from our sponsor.
Yeah, yes, Suzanne Paparazzi Jewelry, home of the $5 jewelry. You can get jewelry, accessories on the website www.paparazziaccessories.com. Code 160920. We know it's holiday season. 24/7 shopping available. Suzanne Paparazzi, get your gifts there.
All right, $5. I mean, you can't beat that. It doesn't get much better than that. But I tell you what's a little bit better than $5. Let's talk about getting something for free. Chris, I know you got a little something that we could get for free here. Tell them about how they can win that free T-shirt.
Yes. Brandon, already see in the comments. How you doing, my guy? If you want to win a free shirt, all you have to do is comment on the videos, share the video, share the page, like the video, follow the page, like the page, be that viewer of the month. At the end of the month, we're going to tally up, who's been doing the most things. Then that winner of the month is going to get a free ASAP T-shirt.
Now let's say that they don't want to get too involved. They don't want to be in the comment section. They don't, they're a little hesitant about that. How can they get one otherwise?
Well, yes, if you still want to support us, you're watching the videos, but you might not want to comment all the time. I understand that, but you can still get a free. I mean, I'm sorry, not free. You still get an ASAP T-shirt, $25 plus shipping and handling. You're going to get that beautiful ASAP T-shirt ASAP.
All right, fellas, that kind of hits that. So we're going to jump right into the topics. We're going to start today with the NFL. We're going to start. Typically Freddie's the guy with a little bit of weird takes. Let's get a little delusional here. Let's get things a little off to a spicy start. Let's start with some hot takes so far for the remainder of the season of the NFL. Coach Cam, I'm going to come to you first. Let's kick it off. Let's get a hot take for the rest of the season.
Hot take for the rest of the season. Hot take. My Cincinnati Bengals will make a push for the wild card spot.
Ooh.
Yes. And it's going to start with a win Sunday against the Steelers. Yes, we're going to give them their first loss Sunday. Yes, I'm saying it here, right here on ASAP Real Talk, that the Bengals will get their first win. And I think we're going to make a push. I think we're getting better, man. I think we're getting better, week after week. And, I think like I said, Joe Burrow keep us in every ball game. We haven't been blown out this season except for once by the Ravens. Every other game has been a one-score game. I feel like some of those have to go our way eventually. And I think we make a push. I really do. And I think we make a push for that last wild card spot.
Joey B giving you a lot of hope out there in Cincinnati.
Yeah, giving me a lot of hope.
All right. So we may see a Bengals playoff push. Chris, let's get one from you.
Man, My guy, Coach Cam, wanted to be a homer, so I'm going to be a homer. Freddie, first of all, your Giants will never be number one in the NFC East. You know who's going to continue to be number one in the NFC East and win the NFC East? My Philadelphia Eagles. No, that's not my hot take because we all know that's a reality. My hot take is my Eagles will make a deep playoff run, possibly to the Super Bowl. Listen, all year we have not been healthy. Everybody wants to judge my team. No team lost their entire offense, offensive lines, tight ends, wide receivers, running backs. Well, now we're starting to get everybody healthy, and we're getting everybody healthy at the right time because we're about to go through, a 5-6 game stretch. That's probably some of the hardest games in the league. We got Cleveland, Seattle, Green Bay, New Orleans, Arizona. That's going to be a test for us. Now, if we go 3-2, 4-1 right there, ooh, boy, they don't want to see me in it. Listen, my Eagles get in the playoffs. I don't care who we play. Buccaneers, the Saints. Who else a good team? It don't matter. Seahawks. Oh, I'm definitely not worried about the Seahawks. Worried about the Packers, please. The game is won and lost in the trenches, and my defensive trenches is amazing. My offense, yes, we've been injured, but at the end of the day, we get healthy. Seahawks better watch out. Like I said, we go against the Seahawks, the Packers, the Saints, 3 games in a row. That's a 3-0 sweep right there. Nobody wants to see my team healthy. When we're healthy, we're dominant. We haven't been healthy since we had a Super Bowl run. That's the last time we were healthy. We haven't been healthy all year, and we still should, still almost beat the Ravens, still almost beat the Steelers. Come on now, y'all want to see my team healthy.
Man, talk about 2 hot takes right there. I mean, y'all definitely lived up to the hype. Tell you what, Brandon down in the comment section saying that the Packers are going to fall all the way down to 3rd in the NFC North. Going to fall behind the Vikings and the Bears, and then Rodgers is going to be shipped off out of Green Bay after this season.
Ooh, now that's a hot take.
I don't know if I want to follow that up. I mean, man, you want to talk about hot? I mean, it's going to take a monumental collapse to get down there. But I tell you what, that's what hot takes are for, and I'm going to continue the hot take streak. Mine doesn't pertain to my Chicago Bears, but my team that I'm going to be rooting for here is the Vegas Raiders. Vegas is off to a 5-3 start. They've won 2 back-to-back games now. Looking at the rest of their season, I think they're going to finish on a 9 out of 10 run and in the season 12-4. I really like the schedule that they have going forward. They face Denver twice. They face KC, which is going to be a tough game, but they do face the Chargers, the Colts, the Falcons, the Jets. I mean, there are some very winnable games in there against some very suspect defenses, minus the Indianapolis Colts. I think that the Raiders are off to a very good start. Derek Carr is 3rd in the NFL in touchdown to interception ratio at 8 touchdowns to 1 interceptions. The only 2 quarterbacks ahead of him are Pat Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. And we all know those are some bad dudes. And then whenever you look at it, Josh Jacobs has been one of the top running backs in the league. He is 6th in the NFL in rushing touchdowns, 3rd in the NFL in rushing yards. I mean, he has been all over the place. The Raiders offense has done just enough to get them through. The defense is holding off as well. I think they're going to keep riding this hot streak. I think they may have a tough game here with Kansas City. I can't imagine Kansas City is going to let 2 of them get away from them. But I think the rest of these games are very winnable for the Vegas Raiders. And I think they're going to get off to a hot 12-4 start their first season in Vegas. Another hot take. Vikings with somehow move Kirk Cousins out of Minnesota. I tell you what, we've talked about some stuff like that, game management and everything like that. But, man, I tell you what, try to get off to a hot start. Got Kendall in here with another hot take. Dalvin Cook winning MVP. I mean, the way he's been playing. I mean, fellas, what do y'all have to say about that one?
I mean, I'll say, I'll definitely say Offensive Player of the Year. MVP only because his team's not winning anything. You know what I'm saying? He's doing his thing. And it is not his fault that they're losing, but they just can't seem to get a victory. But I definitely will say he's making a good, case for the Offensive Player of the Year.
For sure. Tell you what, let's hop into some other topics that we had today. Let's start with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Currently undefeated. Do they stay undefeated? Chris, I'll go to you first.
Man, do the Steelers stay undefeated? Honestly, when I look at their schedule, they have Cincinnati. Sorry, Coach Cam, that's a dub. Jacksonville, dub. Then you have Baltimore again, week 12. Now, that's the question mark. When I look at their schedule, it's only Baltimore, Buffalo, and Indianapolis, 3 question marks. So, I don't think they're going to go undefeated. I think, they're going to have about 2 losses on a year, and 2 of those losses are going to come from those 3 games, unless they want to, at the end of the season, sit people out when they go against the Cleveland Browns, but I don't see it because they're probably going to want the number 1 seed because Kansas City right now is sitting at 8-1, so they're probably going to want that number 1 seed. But I don't see them going undefeated. I think the Ravens possibly going to beat them, and I'm a big believer in the Buffalo Bills. But the Cincinnati Bengals, stop it.
Coach Cam, you got to defend your Bengals. Let's hear what you have to say about Pittsburgh Steelers. That's your division. Let's see what you got to say.
Of course, I'm gonna defend my Cincinnati Bengals. They're taking this L. I mean, the Steelers taking this L this week. Like I said, I firmly believe that. I'm confident in that, and like I said, coming off a bye week, I think Burrow had a chance to really study that defense and know what they're about. Like I said, I trust him. I really do. I do trust Joe Burrow to give us what we need. So. Hey, long as the defense can make a handful of stops, we'll be in the game, and I think we can win it. And I think we will win the game. So I don't think they're going undefeated. They're going to lose this week.
And there you have it. I'm kind of a little bit of a question mark myself on these Pittsburgh Steelers. Similar to what Chris said, I mean, they've got some pretty tough opponents coming up ahead of them. They take on the Cincinnati Bengals twice. They face Jacksonville. You can kind of put those games in the back corner unless you're Coach Cam. You got to stay optimistic about your Bengals. They're playing very well. But I tell you what.
We're going to see on Monday.
Baltimore has a chance to make the playoffs. Buffalo has a chance to make the playoffs. Indianapolis, Cleveland, these are all teams that are going to be fighting for a position. Hell, for some reason, the football team's even still in contention out there in the NFC East. Chris may have something else to say about it.
It's a one-team domination over there in the NFC East.
But record-wise, just from a numbers standpoint, it is still a very close division out there. And like Kendall said, Big Ben's kind of missing time with COVID right now. There's COVID concerns over there in the Pittsburgh locker room. It's going to be tough. It is a very hard feat to go 16-0. I think everybody's very aware of that. It's really high expectations. And are they going to be able to pull it off? I mean, it's possible. But are the Ravens going to let them get away with 2 this season? Are they going to be able to take on that Colts defense that's playing very well, that's going to be fighting for their division? I mean, there's plenty of teams left that they still have to face that are in playoff contention. So it's going to be a little bit rough going forward for the Steelers. Talking about a team that isn't contending, or at least shouldn't be, the New York Giants. Let's talk about their quarterback play of Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, is it a question mark? Is it time to move on? It's still early in Daniel Jones's career. He hasn't played too much, but also they haven't been winning too much. So, Coach Cam, I'm going to start with you. Is it time to kick Daniel Jones out the door?
It's tough, man, because I like Danny Dimes coming out of college. I thought, he did good at Duke. I thought, his skill set could translate, and it's not like he doesn't have the talent. It's little small things, like really not small, but like his pocket presence is terrible. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just give up too many fumbles, too many turnovers. You got to move on from Daniel Jones. You got to move on from him. You got to get rid of him. He's not the quarterback moving forward, and you know this. And if you're in a position to where you can take a quarterback, I think you roll the dice and take one, because it's not like you're gonna handicap yourself cap-wise with the new rookie contract scale. That makes it more flexible than ever. That's why you get these quarterbacks, you play them, you find out if they're good or not. And if they're in middle of year 2 and they're doing the same thing that they was doing in year 1, they're probably not going to improve anymore, because rookies are coming out and balling right away. So I think it's time that you look at a quarterback, possibly, if you can, maybe free agency. It doesn't have to necessarily be draft, but if you're in a position to get another upgrade there, I think you have to take it if you're the New York Giants.
Chris, you in a similar boat? Are you with Coach Cam on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. It's not necessarily Daniel Jones' fault why they're losing all these games. I mean, they have a bad team, but he's not making them any better, and that's a problem. So if you're not going to make us any better, then what's your value to us? So I'm with Coach Cam. If they have a chance to get one of these top quarterbacks, everybody knows my 2 favorite quarterbacks in the draft, Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence. If you can possibly get one of those, fine. If you can get somebody else, fine, one of those top 5 quarterbacks. But anything, that's not a huge upgrade for Daniel Jones, don't waste it. Try to get, bring some value into your team, whether that's the offensive line, whether that's a terrible defense, whether that's, a backup running back or anything that you need. Well, not backup running back that high, but point being is they need something of value. So if they're not going to have a chance to get, Lawrence, Fields, or a top 5 quarterback, then get something valuable with that pick or make a trade. This New York Giants team, to me, nobody on their team other than Saquon, maybe Jabril Peppers, a lot of people aren't bringing real value to them. They need to fix this team. Something about New York, the Giants and the Jets, they're bad. And Mr. Freddie Henderson, for you to come on this show live and say that. Hold on, let me do this real quick. I'm sorry, guys. Freddie Henderson, for you to come on this show live and say that your quarterback was the best quarterback in the division, say that your quarterback, was going to win this division, say that your quarterback was going to do this and do that. Your quarterback is trash. And I already know that your response is going to be, oh, but I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan. I don't care. You're supposed to be a Giants fan, but you never back up your Giants quarterback because you know he's trash. Stop fronting, Mr. Delusional. Your quarterback's trash. I need to move on.
Even when Freddie's not here, he still feels it, man. We still got to find a way to throw something to him. I mean, I've only been here. This is my 3rd episode, and I'm already catching on to all that. But I tell you what, whenever you look at Daniel Jones, whenever you look at it, the numbers are very daunting, especially this season. Whenever you looked at him last year, he was 2 touchdowns to every interception, 24 TDs to 12 picks, which isn't a great ratio. But I tell you what, for coming out, his coming out his rookie year, it's not horrible. That we've seen much worse quarterback play. And this year, there's one big difference, and that's no Saquon. He doesn't have a safety blanket. Whenever Saquon went down, they went and signed free agent running back Devonta Freeman, and he's seen time on the shelf as well. But that doesn't mean that the Giants' weapons should be underappreciated. Some of those guys on that team are relatively decent weapons. Darius Slayton's not bad. Evan Ingram's a better tight end whenever healthy. I mean, Golden Tate's not a bad wide receiver. I mean, Daniel Jones has some options, and it's just been really lackluster for him so far this season. So far, he's 30th per game in passing yards. The Giants in general are 31st in points per game. I mean, this offense is completely stagnant. And then whenever you look on the defensive side of the ball, they're not stopping anything on the pass. There's not a chance. If a quarterback wants to come out and throw for 303 TDs, he can do that and probably more. So the Giants have a lot of glaring holes to fill. It's just, do you want to go with Daniel Jones first? Do you want to go with the secondary first? What exactly do you want to touch on first? Because, man, I mean, this team, especially without Saquon, I mean, they are looking like a bunch of question marks right there. A lot of questions need to be raised about that Giants organization right now. Giants front office is horrible. I'm glad you found a way to make it to the show, Freddie.
And I'll tell you one thing too. I'm not, I wasn't a big Joe Judge guy when they hired him. Mm-hmm. I think I'm not saying he's a bad coach, but he's very old fashioned. And and when you're losing, that gets old very quick. And just look for about 1 or 2. Maybe they give him next year, but look for similar results. I mean, this is not going to get fixed soon, and I think you see him out the door sooner rather than later too.
That's not, honestly, it's not bad. I mean, we've been seeing a lot of coaches come from college, and we're seeing a little bit of, we're seeing some interesting ones where they're translating pretty well, but they're also, a lot of them are bringing a lot of question marks. Matt Rule's an interesting pick out in Carolina. Cliff Kingsbury, he had a little bit of issues his first year, but he's still looking like he's starting to put things together out there in Arizona. So, I mean, it's just a matter of time. It is a first year for Joe Judge, so we'll see exactly what comes of it. But somebody who's not in their first year is Bruce Arians, and he's out there coaching a bad team out there in Tampa Bay. But the question becomes, is this year a boom or bust year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? They have brought in a lot of talent, and I mean a lot of talent, from Tom Brady, Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette, Robert Gronkowski. I mean, the list goes on. A lot of additions brought in, plus they already had great wide receivers in likes of Mike Evans and likes of Chris Godwin. They had great defensive pieces. They've got a lot going for them, but the time could be running out on certain players. Chris, I'm going to start with you. Is this a boom or bust year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Honestly, I think so. And this is why. Last year, it's not like this team was 3-10 and they added a whole bunch of new pieces. Last year, like I said, many times on the show, this team was 7-9. They already had an established defense. They were one touchdown away from being 7-9 to 13-3. Like that's how close all their games were last year. They had established defense. They already had established offense. You just add, a new and upgraded quarterback from Jameis. Not taking anything away from him, but Tom Brady obviously has way more experience than Jameis Winston. Then you go ahead and now you have Antonio Brown. You add, and now you add a Rob Gronkowski, and then a Leonard Fournette, and you drafted good offensive linemen. So this team made a lot of moves so they can go ahead and make a Super Bowl run and win a Super Bowl. And I do believe if they don't win the Super Bowl this year, it will be a failure. And, everybody out there says, oh, well, it's their first year. It's their first year. 99.999% of the times these teams come up and they make big actions like this. Tom Brady goes on a team. They add all these pieces like this. They're not, in their mind, they're not saying, well, we don't win the Super Bowl. We always got next year. No, they want to win this year. Their roster is to win right now. They are capable to win right now. So if they lose, it's on them, and it will be a bust of a season because you don't have all this talent on this team and say it's not a bust. Everybody wants to talk about Kansas City. Well, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can make a strong argument when fully healthy. They have by far the best weapons, and their defense to me is better than Kansas City. So that brings you a dominant team. So if they lose, it's a bust. No point about it.
It's a boomer bust year. If they don't win this year, Gronk isn't guaranteed to come back. Sue is getting old, and so is JPP. Yeah, I mean, it's right there in front of you, Coach Cam. Anything to go along with it?
I mean, I pretty much agree with everyone here. I mean, they put this team together to win. They put this team together to win. You don't grab Tom Brady to say we're just trying to make the playoffs, or we're trying to win 9 games or 10 games. No. You grab Tom Brady to win the championship, and that's what they grabbed him for. Grab Gronk out of retirement. That's going extra mile. That's going the extra mile to try to win. And I'm not gonna sit up here and do the Paul George where he say it ain't boom or bust. Nah, it's definitely you got to win the championship. If you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here, and if not, it's a disappointment. And and they have to figure that out. But you got to win the champ. You got to win the Super Bowl if you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Anything less is irrelevant.
I saw that comment pop up from Adam right before you had went into that. He had said that the Saints are going to win the NFC South and the Buccaneers will lose in the first round of the playoffs.
Wow.
You think the Bucs are a first round exit? Are we that far?
It's possible. Depend on the matchup. Now, the only thing is the Bucs will probably have to play your Eagles, Chris, because they will be the
easy W. Easy, don't worry about that.
Chris.
Go ahead and say what you're saying, though.
I'm just saying they will have to play the NFC East representative, and that's because they will get that 4 seed, and they will get a favorable matchup for whoever come out of that NFC East. You know what I mean?
My two guys have been healthy. I don't know. I mean, last time I played Tom Brady, I was celebrating in the streets. You feel me?
Come
on.
I understand that. I get that. I understand that. But you're right. Y'all not healthy. Y'all are who y'all are right now.
An unhealthy team. And it's and the Buccaneers who are the Buccaneers right now. A team that nobody knows who they are.
You right, absolutely. But you know what? I think I would take that defense up against Carson Wentz in the playoffs. Who gonna get skittish?
Take my defense against Tom Brady. When he gets sacked, you see they don't play good. What did the Saints do? Sack him. What does my team do? Sack people. Brandon Graham, top 5.
Don't get it twisted. In that Super Bowl, he still threw for like 400 yards.
Who came out with the W?
Y'all did.
Okay, that's all that matter.
But those Tom. Hey. I'm just saying.
Who won the game for us? The defense. Come on now. You aren't to go if you can't win facts.
Y'all scored 30+ points.
I know, but who at the end of the game? Brandon Graham got that strip sack. It was game time. The Bucs lose. They would be yes, by far. Because I wanted to speak on this. When Paul George said it's not a boomer bust year, are you fooling yourself?
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard probably saw that and said,
get him out of here.
Get rid of him right now. I need him going. I do not want him. This was a mistake. What you mean? This was you don't put 2-star players together, and we're talking about basketball. I'm not related to football. You don't put 2-star basketball players together. You don't surround all the talent that they had with them, and say, "Oh, it's okay if you lose." No, that's not okay. You were supposed to win. You made commercials like you were going to win. You talk like you were going to win. So for you to lose, that's a problem. So when I look at the Buccaneers, I'm like, oh my goodness, you go get AB. That by itself is a big move. You take Leonard Fournette from the Jaguars, you bring Rob Gronkowski out of retirement, then you get Tom Brady. All those moves to be made just to lose in the first round. That would be a disappointment of the season. And I would not be surprised if some firings and some trades would happen next year.
When you look at it, I mean, if the Bucs don't end up as the top number 1 seed in the wild card, at least, then they're going to have to face a very tough divisional opponent. You know, if they end up as the number 1, assuming that everything stays the way that it's going to stay, then they're going to face off against the NFC East, which is presumably as Chris Brown's Eagles. But if they end up in any other wild card spot, they could have to face the Seahawks. They could have to face the Saints. They could have to face the Packers or any other team that has a hot start or a hot finish to the season here. And that could be a really tough matchup for Tampa Bay.
I have a question.
I have an answer.
Okay, so say they play my Eagles and my Eagles beat them in the first round. Are y'all gonna let me go crazy on this show? Everybody's going to get it. Like if my Eagles beat the Buccaneers in the first round,
I'm not showing up.
Okay,
I'm not showing up.
It's gonna be an ASAP Real Talk episode, just an hour and a half of just Chris.
An hour and a half of me slandering everybody. You said my team suck. Where y'all at? And that's all I'm gonna say.
He's gonna give great reviews about every single player on that roster.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think it's fair to say that if the Bucs don't pull something off here, it's going to be a little bit tough. I mean, whenever you look at it, they got, you know, we talk about Tom Brady. You don't go out and go get Tom Brady, but let's just break it down to a point to where you don't get a quarterback 40 plus years old not to win. I mean, nobody's going out there and grabbing a 40 plus year old quarterback to think for the future. Nobody's doing that. And then, as mentioned, you know, everybody's kind of hit the nail on the head whenever you're getting Gronk out of retirement. Now you're going to go after Antonio Brown, trying to get people like LaShawn McCoy and Leonard Fournette. I mean, people who have done it before. And so now you're trying to bring in all these big pieces, try to get all the affinity stones like Jason Licht out there. The GM is like Thanos or something, trying to collect everything out in Tampa Bay. And then to fall short would be absolutely abysmal for Tampa Bay. I mean, whenever you look at it, as mentioned by one of the comments earlier, JPP's getting old, Sue's getting old. Levante David and Shaq Barrett are both on contract years. They could both be gone after this year if nothing happens. You know, there's no telling. There's no telling where exactly they'll sign, but there's no promise that they're going to be coming back either. I know Sue's on a 1-year contract. He could be gone after this season. So if that is to happen, if the Bucs are to go down and they don't walk out with a championship, I mean, this could turn the heads for a lot of players, especially trying to come to this organization, because they may see that they don't have it. And if you don't have it, a lot of teams, especially veteran players, you know, a lot of veteran players are going over there because they go, oh man, Tom Brady, you know, Tom Brady, the Super Bowl is down in Tampa Bay. We're already on the Bucs, you know, we're already down here. We might as well, everybody's getting back together. Fournette came here, Brown came here, Gronkowski. I mean, everybody's like, yeah, let's go join the Bucs. But if you hit a first round exit, I mean, I know a lot of Bucs fans. I lived in Tampa for 12 years, and I know a lot of people who will not be happy if that's the case. I mean, it is going to be an uprising down there in Tampa Bay. Moving on to Chris Brown's Eagles. We're going to move on to a little bit of a topic. On First Take the other day, Brett Favre had come on, and he had a couple of choice words to say about the young man, number 11, Carson Wentz, on the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Chris, I need you to give yourself the full floor. I need you to go completely all by yourself. I want to hear your opinions on what Brett Favre had to say about your quarterback.
Okay, Mr. Brett Favre, I respected you at one point in time. I even used you on Madden. You came out on Ultimate Team, the best quarterback in the game. But since these comments, I deleted your card from my roster. I sold his card because that was some terrible comments by somebody I held. So a great deal of respect. His comments saying I thought they should have kept Nick Foles rather than Carson Wentz just based off production, where they got to. Did you ever watch the Eagles play? What production did Nick Foles ever had outside of that one playoff run? Did you see him when he had to start when Carson Wentz was hurt in 2018? Where was he at? Where has been the production from Nick Foles after, that one good season he had when he replaced the legendary Mike Vick? When has he ever been a good starting quarterback in this NFL? Like, I just don't understand where his comments is coming from. I would cry if I had Nick Foles as my quarterback right now in my Eagles because we'd have 0 wins. Something with Carson Wentz, I know is going to bring me heart. He willed us to some of these victories. He's willing us to some of these games. We seen what Carson Wentz did at a starting quarterback for the past 3-4 years. Nick Foles isn't a starting quarterback, ladies and gentlemen. He was along for the ride when my Eagles picked him up when Carson Wentz tore his ACL. He was along for the ride when we won that Super Bowl. We were going to win it regardless. We were going to win it regardless. I'm grateful for what he did, but that was our year. He was a backup quarterback. That's what he is best. He's not no starter. He's not no franchise quarterback like Carson Wentz. So for, Mr. Throw a million interceptions to a million touchdowns, and Brett Favre for every touchdown he throws interception. Can't be talking about production. He a legend, but I mean, he's a gunslinger. My quarterback's having a gunslinger type of year. He wants to have problems with it. You the one that. That's why you left. That's why they got rid of you in Green Bay. You got old, start throwing interceptions, man. He can't talk about no quarterback. Chris did Nick Foles fit the system. He fit, my system. That's why we won. We catered the system around him. We made it simple because he's not a starting quarterback. We made it simple. RPO is running the ball. Like, listen, I have respect for Nick Foles. He's always going to be a legend to me because of what he did. But at the end of the day, Carson Wentz here and Nick Foles here. And anybody that has a problem with it obviously doesn't watch football every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday.
Coach Cam, we got Chris on his soapbox. Obviously, that's his team. It's going to hit a little bit different for him. But how did you take those comments?
Oh, man, yeah, Brett Favre tripping, man. You know what I mean? He's definitely tripping. There's no way I'm taking Nick Foles as my quarterback either. I think you're starting to see it now. He's 2-4 as the starter with the Bears. I mean, he hasn't done what they expected him to do. I thought it was a lateral move putting him in. I just thought they figured they was paying him $20 million or whatnot, so they had to play him. And this is what they're getting. Like I said, he held down the fort. He did what he was supposed to do in that Eagles Super Bowl run, and finished the job for him. However, I mean, Carson Wentz is your franchise quarterback. He's the guy for them moving forward. And it was an easy call. It was an easy call to make. I'm sorry, Brett Favre. I hate to say it. I hope it ain't no CTE or nothing like that. It's saying that it's Nick Foles over Carson Wentz. They would not be better off right now. Like Chris said, they would be probably willing. They would be the Jets. They would be the NFC version of the Jets right now if they had Nick Foles.
I tell you what, as the Bears fan, as earlier mentioned by the comment, I mean, I've getting to see firsthand what Nick Foles is able to do. And one thing Nick Foles has proven to be is pedestrian. Everybody thought he was a godsend out there for a little bit. They got him to that Super Bowl. Everybody had such high hopes on him. Jacksonville gave him a bag. They said, you can come out here, you can come be our franchise quarterback, which he's never done on any other team that he's ever been a part of. And then he comes in and gets replaced by a guy who sells Tupperware named Uncle Rico. And he comes in, a guy who wears cutoff jean shorts and has 70 stash. I mean, he got outplayed. He got sent out to a different organization that had quarterback problems in and of itself. Other than Mitch Trubisky, what else did the Bears have? They weren't going to fall back on Chase Daniel. At a point, they had Mike Glennon. They're not going to fall back on that. And so to bring in Nick Foles for the quarterback, at least the competition, was a decent move at first. But I tell you what, even as a Bears fan, this may be a little bit of a hot take right here, but I think Mitch Trubisky's the better quarterback for this team. I think Mitch Trubisky, especially with this terrible offensive line that we have going on between injury issues and everything such as that, Kyle Long retired early, I think Mitch Trubisky is just a little bit more mobile to get away from pass rush. And that's what we need. Nick Foles isn't leaving the pocket. What's up?
I have a question for you, Will. So are you regretting the fact that your team took Mitchell Trubisky in the draft? Like, do you regret that every night? If I was a Bears fan, I would go to sleep crying, wake up disappointed when I look and I see Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes. I just cry at night. Oh, that's just so bad.
I definitely can't say I'm happy with it. Especially when you see Pat Mahomes, one of the youngest quarterbacks to ever win a Super Bowl. I mean, get a $500 million bag. I mean, billion. At this point, we're just sitting here. The delusional Bears fan in me wants to go like, "Hey, we made the nice financial situation." But like at the point, I also like it doesn't come down to that. It comes down to winning football games. And if are you going to have Mitch Trubisky, Pat Mahomes, or Deshaun Watson? Which one you got to cut? I mean, everybody knows the answer. But whenever it comes down to it, I mean, whenever you're looking at this Bears offensive line, at least in my standpoint, I watch the Bears every single Sunday. You know, I get to see what exactly goes on every single snap, every play. And Nick Foles he's a pocket quarterback. He's not going anywhere. He's not escaping any pass rush. And if he was back in the day, he's certainly not now. He just has to sit there and take it. He's just
sitting duck.
Lines. What's that?
I say he's a sitting duck.
He is, and he's just out there, and he's left to dry by his offensive line, which doesn't help. But he's also not helping himself. You know, Mitch Trubisky at least could run the bootleg. He could do a play-action boot and get away from the pass rush, and he could actually make something of himself. And I would argue this season, Nick Foles has better weapons, especially with the injury issues that the Eagles are having. He has a better offensive line, especially with the Eagles' issues. And he's not doing it. He's still not doing as good as Carson Wentz. I mean, Carson Wentz is still playing out there. Yes, the turnovers have been there, but like Chris said, he's having a gunslinger season. Whenever you just chuck it out on there, it's going to get picked off sometimes, you know, if you go for the big play. And Carson Wentz right now is still looking better than Nick Foles. At least that's my take. I can't stand the guy. I mean, as a Bears fan, I'm let down with both quarterbacks. I mean, it is what it is, but I mean, we have to accept it. Matt Nagy's not going away from it. He's sticking with Foles. But I mean, how many quarterbacks get pulled after a 2-0 record? You know, you start off undefeated, you win both games. I mean, Chris and Cam, we've both talked about it on the show. It's not about what you're doing. It's not about all that. If you're getting dubs, you're getting dubs. You know, if you're getting W's, that's what you need as a team. You need W's. And yeah, DeAndre Swift may have missed a wide open touchdown. The Giants may have been yards away from a comeback. But at the end of the day, the Bears walked out with a W. And then all of a sudden, he's struggling in a game against the Falcons, and you're going to just replace him. And now Nick Foles had a great game off the bench, which he always does. And now all of a sudden, he's the franchise QB. Come on, man. Get out of here with that. I'm not putting up with any of that. I think those comments from Brett Favre were absolutely terrible. I think those are absolutely absurd. That's some delusional type stuff. I mean, we know all about that here. You know, we know about delusion, and Brett Favre a little delusional on those comments. But man, to say that Nick Foles is the option is the answer over Carson Wentz. I mean, unbelievable. We talk about bad quarterbacks. Let's talk about bad teams overall. Let's talk about the 3 worst teams in the NFL. Whenever you think of it, when you think of a dumpster on fire, what are the first 3 NFL teams that come to your head? Coach Cam, let's start with you.
When I think of dumpster fires, I think of the Jets first automatically. Bad front office, bad football team, you know. They're just unbearable to watch at this point. There's not much good to say about the New York Jets. Yeah, just nothing good. Nothing good there. That's my worst team. Second worst team that I have is in the NFC East. It's the New York Giants. New York Giants, they're terrible. You know, Daniel Jones, is bad. Like I said, his pocket presence is terrible. Continue to fumble the football in the pocket. Defense really can't stop anybody. You just don't know what the direction is of the New York Giants right now as a team or as an organization. So, you know, New York Giants is 2 for me. And the third, I had a couple teams here that I was kind of fiddling with. But you know what? And I hate to say it, it's the Houston Texans. Dumpster fire. You know, and I hate it because Deshaun Watson is there, and I know what he can do, you know, when he has a team around him. But the organization is horrible. You know, you trade DeAndre Hopkins for nothing. I mean, I'm sorry, David Johnson, you know.
He's nothing.
But come on now, in the second-round pick, and then you try to replace that with Cooks and Randall Cobb. Like, come on, man. Like, that's just awful. You know, that's awful. And also, you know, defense starting to get a little, you know, old as well. You know, Watt's looking to get up out of there. He's not looking for a rebuild. They traded their picks, and unfortunately, they 2-6. That would be a top 10, possibly looking at a top 5 pick that they don't have. So they're just a mess right now.
I'll tell you what, before we go to you, Chris, Jets, Lions, Chargers. Those are some interesting names. I don't know if Lions, Chargers are some of the names that may have necessarily come up. I mean, those are some names I haven't heard, at least. I don't know if anybody's talking about it, but I mean, maybe I'm wrong, I mean, it is all an opinion. Whenever you think of dumpster fires in the NFL, Chris, where are you looking?
Now, usually, it's a team on here that didn't make it this year. And I'm going to give them a little bit of – no, I'm not. I lied. I was going to give some credit, but I ain't going to do that. Number one has to be the Jets. I mean, only team without a win. Like Coach Cam said, terrible front office, terrible coaching staff, terrible everything over there. They drafted Sam Darnold, and they're wasting the young man's talent. I mean, he's a very good quarterback, and every weapon he had with him has either walked away in free agency or they traded away. So that's just a terrible organization. Then I have the Jaguars. In 2017, or I forget, was it 2018 or 2017? They went to the AFC Championship. I thought they were going to win it. I thought they were. I'm gonna be honest. I thought they were going to win the Super Bowl because they would have went against my Eagles. I was nervous. I was more nervous going against the Jaguars than going against the Patriots because of how dominant that defense is and what we have in our backup quarterback in. So I thought they were going all the way, and ever since then they've been on a downhill spiral. Everybody from that great team has been gone. All the key players, Calais Campbell gone, Leonard Fournette gone. This team is one of the worst teams in football. They missed the window of opportunity. They had it. They could have made it work, and they messed up. Last, all right, Coach Cam, I'm sorry. I was gonna have your Bengals on here. I was gonna have your Bengals on here, but
Burrow saved us.
But Joe Burrow saved you. He's that limelight for you right now. So for me, I have to go with the Dallas Cowboys, and let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Everybody was so hype on this team, but as soon as they drafted CeeDee Lamb, when I talked about disappointing teams, Brandon Herrera, your Vikings could have easily been on this list just to put you on here. But the Cowboys, I had them on one of my most disappointing teams this year because they messed up with coaching hirings. They messed that up completely.
Yeah.
No,
They let too many people go on defense, especially their best corner. You need somebody on the back end in the NFL. If you don't have nobody on the back end, you messed up. And then on offense, once they drafted CeeDee Lamb, I said, oh, that's a problem because now you're conflicting yourself. You're going to want to keep passing the ball, but you only won, and you were, the only time you were really relevant is when Zeke was getting touches. You drafted another wide receiver, so okay, I saw the step y'all were taking. Oh, y'all want to be passed? Oh, go ahead, keep passing. Y'all not going to win. And, I'm sorry about Dak Prescott's injuries, but I knew this was going to happen, and he's probably going to break all the records, and their record was going to be 6-10 at the end of the year. So I was like, oh, man, they about to be trash, and they just proven me right. I mean, the Cowboys are a bad organization. They make the wrong hirings. They draft the wrong people. They sign the right people. It's just a mess of a franchise over there in Dallas. And I hope they keep being bad so my Eagles can keep thriving. I do. I'm not going to lie.
I tell you what, I hate to let's see. Brandon's saying, can I ask a quick question? If wins matter between Foles and Wentz, who had a better win-loss record for the Eagles when Foles was there?
To my knowledge, after that one good season with Foles, he was a dumpster fire. Carson Wentz's rookie year was trash, and then this year right now is trash. Last year, because all injuries, is trash. I mean, Carson Wentz has been doing this thing. Well, we was injured last year. Carson Wentz would go 0-16, throw 30 interceptions, and I'm still picking him over Nick Foles. I'm gonna be honest.
I mean, I think we got to remember back in 2017, he was an ACL away from winning an MVP.
The MVP was his. Everybody it was our year. He was on pace. We had the top scoring offense in the league, one of the best defenses. That was our best team by far. I'm not going to go on the Eagles rant because I want to, but all I'm going to say is, I'm not going to go on a rant like some people do. All I'm going to say is that year was his MVP, and everybody. I hate when people say, but just because, but what if? But he didn't. They just hating that. Everybody that do that, just to let y'all know, ladies and gentlemen that watch this show, if you do that, you're an Eagles hater.
And to that, let's look at Nick Foles' MVP season. A season, not a postseason, a season. Let's see him do it consistently. Let's see the man do it before we give him credit. So, but going on to
take that comment off. My Eagles are fine. My Eagles are fine. We're injured right now. Just wait. Let's wait. I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping at all. You see, I straight face with it.
Yeah, for sure. I tell you what, you have a lot more hope in your team than I have in mine, and I appreciate that. But especially because my team has a winning record, and you still believe in yours more than you believe in mine. But I tell you what, I hate to beat I hate to beat the dead horse, but I'm following in the exact same footsteps as Chris here. At number one, obviously, we're all going with the Jets. I mean, that is embarrassing. It speaks for itself. I have no reason to go more into it. Number two, I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars. You want to talk about a team that fell off so hard. I mean, like Chris said, I mean, AFC Championship against the Patriots looked good in that game, too. Wasn't a pushover game. They held their own. With Blake Bortles as a quarterback, if anybody, the boat. He is the most Bortles of all time when it comes to the NFL, and he held his own, and they were playing very good football. And how do you go from AFC Championship holding your own against a Super Bowl champion, or at least a big dynasty out in the AFC, to falling to one of the worst teams in the NFL? Very quick turnaround for the Jags, and I think it kind of speaks towards their organization. I think they have a lot of question marks whenever it comes to the general managers, to the coaching staff. I think everything kind of makes weird decisions. I think that should be evident. That should be prevalent whenever you look to see that they threw a bag at Nick Foles. I mean, I figured some team was going to do it, but I'm not shocked that it was the Jaguars of all teams. I mean, that just kind of speaks to their organization. And number three, I'm also going with the Dallas Cowboys. Whenever I'm looking at it, I'm a big stats guy. I'm a huge on numbers. And let me tell you some numbers that kind of show me to look towards the Cowboys. Right now, they are 8th worst in the NFL in points per game. That is not good. I understand that Dak's down. Obviously, you got to give them a little bit of credit. They are running now. Okay, maybe not. You got to give a little bit of leeway, I would say, because they're running with a 4th-string quarterback. I mean, they're not running. They're not even running with Ben DiNucci anymore. I mean, they made it all the way down to the MVP of a football league that doesn't exist anymore.
Next man up. That's what they told. They said next man up from where I said my team was injured. So I don't want to hear no excuses. They said next man up. I don't want to hear no excuses. It's NFL. So now they have no leeway.
Well, there you go. I mean, when you look at it, their rushing attack has not been great. Ezekiel Elliott's been not shut down, but he's definitely been held back a little bit this year. He hasn't nearly had the production that he has, and that the offensive passing numbers have been heavily inflated due to Dak Prescott's performance earlier on in the season. So I think the offensive numbers are a little bit kind of skewed because it's not actually how the team is playing. The team's playing terrible. And whenever you look at the defensive side of the ball, a team that was supposed to have a relatively decent defense, they weren't supposed to be all the way down here. I can promise you that. Right now, they are last in the league in turnover differential with -13. The next closest team is -7. 7. They have 6 more turnovers than any other team whenever it comes to a differential. That is terrible. You can't win a football game if you don't have the ball, and if you're giving it away, it makes it even harder whenever you do finally have it. And so that's been terrible. They're second to last in the NFL in rushing defense. So they not only can they not run the ball, they can't stop it either. They're last in the NFL in points per games allowed. How much more do you need to see? The Cowboys are awful. They're playing terrible this season. They're not good. No matter what, Dak Prescott had a great start to a season, but yes, no matter what's to stop them from going 6-10 in best case scenario? Because that defense has been absolutely awful. That defense would almost put up a 500 record in a different football league. You could go almost 500 in the XFL at that point. I mean, they are putting that terrible of numbers up. And let's see what Brandon has to say. Could the Cowboys move on from Dak if the quarterback play is better? And are they they are in more games rest of the season? I tell you what, let's get your opinion on that one, Chris.
I will say this. I don't think now because of this injury, I feel like people are going to say, oh, well, they should sign it back. Oh, they should sign it back. My opinion on Dak will never change. No disrespect to him. People everybody wants to switch up their stance because of the injury. It was a terrible injury. I wish him a speedy recovery. I don't think they're going to pay him. I mean, I don't think, he wants 44 million. He don't deserve that. He that's not him. That's not what he brings to the table. He needs to take that 30 to 35 million and just be a quarterback that can get wins, because he's not a bad quarterback. but he's demanding quarterback money that insinuates that he's one of the best in the league, and he's far from that. He's not on Patrick Mahomes' level. He's not close to it. I don't think he's even on Deshaun Watson's level. I'm taking Lamar over him a million times over. Everybody's talking about my quarterback. That's fine. They got to say yes to prove it. That's fine. But at the end of the day, he still is not on the elite of the elite. All those stats he's had the past 2 years didn't generate to anything. So I don't think they're going to pay him. If they don't pay him, that means he could possibly move on. I would love to see Dak on a different team just so he could prove to people that, even people like me, that he's that good of a quarterback. But I don't think he's worth that, that much money. So I wouldn't be surprised if they can somehow manage a trade. This is a hot take, just throwing out here. They go out and they go get a Justin Fields.
Fields. Coach Cam, what do you think about the future of Dak Prescott? While we haven't brought up,
yeah, they're not going to pay him, and I always thought they never was going to pay him. They know that these stats that he's getting is because they get down so fast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, before in the blink of an eye, it's 21-0 in the middle of the second quarter, and all of a sudden, Dak got to throw the ball 45 plus times or 50 times because they're coming from behind. And all of a sudden, you look up, and he has maybe 400 yards, with 3 or 4 touchdowns, and that made the game interesting and things like that. So his numbers is going to look great. But however, all in all, you're going to equal 8-8 most likely with him. You know what I mean? That's the Cowboys, 8-8. So, at the most. So, I mean, I just feel like the Cowboys is in an interesting position, man. They got all these pieces, but, it's not amounting to anything. At some point, where do you go if you're the Cowboys? So I do kind of understand where you guys are coming from and putting them on that list. And I thought about it. It was between them and the Giants. But the Giants are so bad, I had to put them on the list.
Yeah, Giants are terrible. Man. Yeah, listen, Joe Burrow saved you.
Oh, I know.
If Joe,
if we didn't have Joe, I would have put
Joe Burrow saved you.
Hey, at least you can be humble about it.
hey, Joe Burrow, give us hope.
Baby. That's the price of that humble pie.
Yeah, you give us hope.
Tell you what, we went from the worst teams in the NFL, and Chris had mentioned Justin Fields. He's going to be an upcoming rookie in this year's draft. Let's talk about rookies this season. Let's talk about the best rookie wide receiver in the NFL as this season. We've seen some pretty big names come out, such as Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson. Even some names like Laviska Shenault has gotten some looks, even in a terrible offense down there in Jacksonville. Tell you what, Cam, let's start with you. Who, in your eyes, is the best rookie receiver this season in the NFL?
The best rookie receiver in the league right now, I will have to give it to Justin Jefferson. What he's doing out there in Minnesota, I didn't think he would catch on that fast. I thought he would be like, kind of like not necessarily like a slow learner, but I thought it would take him a while to get his feet going. But he come in and he's fitting next to Thielen great. I know Dalvin Cook, comes first in that offense. So for him to be able to put up the yards he's putting up, with Thielen as well shows he's taking advantage of his opportunities. But I didn't like that, Will. You didn't say a name in that rookie wide receiver.
T. Higgins.
Thank you, T. Higgins. Look for him as well. He's doing really good with Joe Burrow. That 9-85 combo is back, like Carson and Chad. So we, so that's good to see. But Justin Jefferson, I think, is the best in the class right now. But it's close between him and CeeDee.
Chris, before I move on to you, let me please say Travis Fulgham before you get upset. But I want to make sure I hit everybody's team. I'll hit Darnell Mooney for me as well. I mean, we got a rookie receiver on our end. But Chris, let me get your opinion on who the best rookie wide receiver is this season.
Man, yeah. So Coach Cam, I'm surprised that you didn't take, your receiver. Your guy.
T. Higgins. I know. I'm gonna be. I just can't go full homer on y'all this show, so I'm being humble. But T. Higgins is nice. I love T. Higgins. I love the pick.
See, now the crazy thing is that my guy Fulgham, he's not a rookie because if he was, this is his first time getting some minutes, but he's drafted last year. Brandon Ray said, I see you seeing Jefferson hands down. Respect to him. I will say if Rager didn't get hurt, early it would be him. But I'm going with T. Higgins. I'm going with T. Higgins.
Respect
Why?
on his
Why?
name.
Because I feel like T. Higgins has really been the most consistent. I mean, every game he doesn't have games where he has 0 yards, 11 yards, 21 yards. To me, he's been the most consistent. I mean, 78 yards, 6 catches. You know, 5 for 5, 71 yards, a touchdown. These are good performances against the Colts. 125 yards. You know, 6 receptions. I wanted T. Higgins in the second round. I thought I knew what T. Higgins was going to bring, and Justin Jefferson. I feel like. See, with him, because of Stephon Diggs being gone, you know, Brandon Vera, correct me if I'm wrong, your passing offense stinks. Mainly because of your quarterback. But at the end of the day, you really only have 2 weapons in the hand the ball off. So he's playing, he's having some good performances. But right now, you know, with consistency, who I feel like is having the best game, I like T. Higgins for real. I like T. Higgins. And
Thank you,
like
Chris.
I said, if it wasn't for Rager being injured, though, it'd be Rager.
Tell you what, actually, Coach Cam, I don't want to hype up your team too much, but whenever I was looking at this myself, I was between Jefferson and T. Higgins. I mean, T. Higgins, as mentioned by Chris, he's been a sign of consistency out there in Cincinnati. It's been very impressive to see what he's doing. Joe Burrow and him are off to a very good start, and it's got to feel promising as a Bengals fan, especially as 2 rookies are already getting that connection early in their career. But ultimately, I did have to go Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson is 15th currently right now in the NFL in receiving yards, and we all know who his quarterback is. And we all know that they typically run the ball first. I mean, it's impressive, but whenever I say that, you know, 15th, you know, it's not great, you know, it's not like top 10, you're not up there, you're not top 5. He's also tied for 60th in targets. That's
a great stat.
He is getting no target. He has 44 targets on the season. There are some wide receivers that have 90 right now. There are some wide receivers up there that are getting those kind of looks. Justin Jefferson is not getting that kind of look. He's gotten 44 targets, has 34 receptions on that, and he is second in the NFL. Only I want to say only behind Nelson Aguilar, if I want to say, in yards per catch. I mean, when you talk about big, explosive, big playability, you're not talking about Kirk Cousins because that's not the answer. You're talking about Justin Jefferson. I mean, he is making him at least look somewhat competent whenever he's throwing the ball. It at least you know what you're getting out of Justin Jefferson. I mean, granted, you know what you're getting out of T. Higgins so far. T. Higgins has been absolutely outstanding when it comes to consistency, but Justin Jefferson has been absolutely amazing as well, and he's also the 3rd rookie receiver right now. Out of all rookies, he's 3rd in touchdowns behind Claypool and Fulgham. But let's not forget, Claypool had a 4-touchdown game. I mean, he had a 4-touchdown game. He has 5 on the season. I mean, yes, Chase Claypool, he's done his thing out there in Pittsburgh, but I don't know if he's in the conversation for top wide receiver of the rookie class. And so Justin Jefferson 2, T. Higgins 1. I mean, it's really all up to debate. You know, you can look at multiple wide receivers. You can look any way that you want to look, but ultimately, I'm gonna go with the wide receiver out there in Minnesota and Justin Jefferson. I'll tell you what, that's all we have for football today. But before we hop into the NBA, look at all of these comments that we have coming in, man. It is nuts. Like, everybody's out here. They're reaching out to the show. They're trying to get their voice heard. And I tell you what, Chris, whenever these people keep commenting and they keep doing all this, I mean, what are they up for, man? What could happen if you keep commenting into this show?
I see you guys in the comments. Keep commenting, you know, keep liking the video, sharing the page, you know, liking the page. And the person that does that the most at the end of the month will be eligible to win the Viewer of the Month t-shirt. Beautiful t-shirt. You're going to get it for free. Keep, you know, supporting us, and we're going to get you that t-shirt.
Tell you what, man, I think I look pretty good in that. I know I'm not commenting in many videos or anything like that, but I think I look good in a little ASAP t-shirt. If I wanted it, if I was that kind of person, how could I get it?
Listen, you can just message me. You message me directly. But for everybody in the comments, you know, message our Facebook page, our Instagram page, our Twitter page. Search the $25 plus shipping and handling. You're going to get that beautiful ASAP t-shirt to you ASAP.
Sounds like a deal to me. Tell you what, let's hop into some NBA topics. We started the NFL getting off to a hot start. Let's do it right back again to the NBA. Let's jump into something crazy right off rip. Chris, we're going to go to you. I need a hot take for the NBA right now.
Listen, I had one in mind, but now I feel like aggravating somebody. I just, you know, when you got that, and if, not aggravating somebody, but just seeing how somebody's going to react to this.
Mhm.
So I had one in mind. So the one in mind I had, which I don't think is a hot take, because I think it's going to happen. Honestly, it's Steve Nash winning Coach of the Year, but that's not what I want to talk about. I'm going to talk about Luka Doncic, and my hot take is that Luka is going to have a Dirk Nowitzki type of year. Play 20 years in the game, great in the regular season. Does thing in the playoffs, but he's not going to have that 3-4 championship type of success unless they bring in some help for him. They don't bring in no help for Luka, and he's really there by himself. He's going to have the numbers. Dirk Nowitzki, one thing he had the offensive game for sure. Dirk Nowitzki got all the offensive numbers, but without the team success, people want to look at him different. And my hot take is that everybody's loving Luka right now like they loved Dirk when he started going off. But I don't think that's a hot take either. KD is that dude. My hot take is that Luka Doncic is going to have a career that shouldn't, career like Dirk, not good enough. That's how I ended off. Not good enough.
Not good enough.
Not good enough.
Dirk, not good enough.
Not good enough. Well, no, listen. When people talking about powerful, when people talk about greatest players in the game, nobody says Dirk. Everybody forgets about Dirk, and I fear that that's going to happen with Luka Doncic. He's going to have all these numbers, all these very good numbers. Well, what's that really going to translate into? Where the wins at?
Dirk got his place. He's the top 5 power forward of all time.
That's true.
He got his place. I mean, everybody can't be, top 10 or anything like that. But if you can't tell me he's a top 20 NBA player of all time.
And it's a lot of people that think that. And I fear that's going to happen with Luka Doncic. I fear that he is going to be on the average roster, put up a lot of great numbers, doesn't win anything.
He's gonna win a ring or two.
Him and James Harden. He knew James Harden.
No. He gonna win a ring or two. For sure. For sure. It's on me for the hot take, I guess.
I just wanted to get your reaction out of that. I just wanted to talk about Luka.
Yeah. That's He gonna give me. He gonna at least give me 2. I know he gonna give me 2 rings for sure. I know he is. He just got the intangibles to give me 2. But hot take, NBA hot take. This is interesting. And remember, we'll little foreshadow. We'll get to it probably a little later.
Mm-hmm.
James Harden.
Mm-hmm.
James Harden. I think with the Nets pieces, you're gonna see a KD, Harden, Kyrie reunion. They got the pieces to do it. You give them Dinwiddie, you give them LeVert, you give them the contract, expiring contract of DeAndre Jordan. You give them the picks, and you get James Harden in Brooklyn, and you get KD, Harden, and Kyrie in the East, and they do that thing. That's my hot take. The Nets got the pieces, and I think, you know what, they can make it happen.
Can I do a new hot take? I feel like that. I just want to joke around. Of course, Gann brought so much fire that I feel like I need to bring some. That was a hot one right there. I mean, you talking about James Harden? You talking about Kyrie and KD on one team?
Yeah, I think it's good
with Steve Nash as the coach, and then Tony back there. Ooh. That can let me read. We'll give you a hot take, and I want to do a redo hot take. I'm sorry, Coach Cam. I feel like that I gotta have some. I should take some credit for that hot take because I feel like I woke him up, and then that was just
yeah. That kind of woke me up a little bit.
I tell you what, my hot take. I kind of referenced this back on Tuesday's show. I talked a little bit about it, and my knowledge on NBA is a little bit limited, but I do my research when I come on here. I'm not trying to get showed up by all these guys who know what they're talking about. So I try to kind of hold my own. And I tell you what, I said this in the last episode. I said that the Minnesota Timberwolves could have a nice, decent trade opportunity to go get James Harden. I'm gonna mention James Harden myself. When was the last time you saw a 19-45 team flip into the playoffs the next season? I think the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to find a way to get back to playoff contention this season, no matter what it takes, no matter if it is the trading the number 1 pick. You know, if they're trading that number 1 pick, they're getting something big. You're going to get Karl Anthony Towns back, coming back from that wrist injury, but he missed a lot of games last year. And the biggest problem with this team last year was the defense. This team is 10th right now in the NBA in open cap. This team can go out and they have the money to go make something happen. Even with D'Angelo Russell's terrible contract, they have the time to go make something happen if he even stays on the books. I think the Minnesota Timberwolves, being a 19-win team last season, are going to find a way to turn it back. Whether it be a Cat coming back up and playing out of his mind, whether James Harden finds his way in Minnesota, I think there's going to be a big piece involved. And if they don't trade that number 1 pick, they've got something. They've got something coming. You know those guaranteed 3 players that are probably going to make their way out in the top 3, and you know any of those players would be a great addition to that Minnesota team. I think somehow, some way, I don't know if it's the 8th seed, I don't know where it's at, but I know Minnesota will find a way into the playoffs next season. So, Chris, we do have to go back to you. I know you said you want to redo a hot take. Let's see what you said.
Everybody's talking about trades. Trades is the hot take. What Cam said, first of all, what y'all two said, I don't know if this is going to be close, but this is something I see happening. I see my Philadelphia 76ers.
Oh my god!
All right, that's all I got. Yeah, I'm at
sad truth because I've been the sad truth that we're going to make some trades we shouldn't. But this trade that because I'm hearing Devin wants out of Phoenix, especially if they don't land Chris Paul. So my 76ers, we're trading away 5 of those picks we have this year. We're trading away Harris, probably Richardson, and getting Devin Booker. Ben Simmons and Devin Booker is going to be the best backcourt in the league, and it's not going to be close. Nobody's going to touch that. Nobody's going to touch the playmaking he has and the scoring ability that Devin Booker has. Nobody's going to be able to touch the pick and roll between Devin Booker and Joel Embiid with Ben Simmons in the dunker position. Nobody's going to be able to stop Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons pick and roll with Devin Booker wide open in the wing. You put those 3 players together on one team, you see that banner right? Hold on. That banner right there, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be, tattooed right here when we win the championship. I think my Sixers are one trade away. You gave us the coach. You gave us the coaching staff. We have the best coaching staff in the NBA. It's not close. You give us the coaching staff. It's close. Who coaching staff is better than us?
What?
Who coaching staff is better than the Sixers?
Nets.
The Nets is better than the Sixers?
I think the Nets coaching staff better. Doc Rivers is overrated, man. We got to stop giving all this.
You taking a new head coach over a proven one? You taking D'Antoni? So you taking D'Antoni? So you taking D'Antoni over Doc and Sam Cassell? The point guard guru and Sam Cassell? Look what he did to Chris Paul. Look what he did to John Wall. You don't think Ben Simmons about to go off next year?
Man, I'll wait and see, man. But I think Ben Simmons done maxed out at where he's gonna be at. I think he's that 18, 8, and 8 guy, which is not bad. I just think he's that guy, and that's what you're gonna get from him. I don't think he's gonna shoot that mid-range jumper. I don't think. I think
people thought Brandon Ingram was Brandon Ingram. Then look what he did this year. Some people just need a change of scenery. He got to change the scenery. What Ben Simmons got is a new head coach, somebody that knows how to use his players right, and good assistants. So we just wanted to wait and see how Ben Simmons dominates the NBA. Best point guard in the league next year over Luka.
Oh, now okay.
That's my hot take. I'm taking Ben over Luka every day of the week. That's my hot take.
Definitely move on.
And Joel over Chris Stapps. I'm sorry.
Okay, I give you that.
We will move on here. We've talked. 2 of us have talked about Harden moving. There's been a lot of news coming out about the Houston Rockets, man. I mean, between Harden, now Westbrook, I mean, it just keeps adding up out there in Houston. Cam, let me get your opinion on some of the news that's coming out on the Rockets.
Hey, this is about right. I've been saying you should bust it up anyway, and now it looks like it's about to happen. Both of them are not happy or confused with the direction of where the Rockets are going. And I wish they would have gave Silas a chance. I do. I think he could have been a good coach. You know what I mean, or is a good coach, and he just needs the opportunity with the players. But I don't know if he's going to get that opportunity. It's been whispers now. James Harden either wants to be traded, to the Nets, the Heat,
That's
or
nasty.
yeah, the Heat would be nasty too. So it's like it's other places that he wants to go, possibly if they can't figure this out. And Russell Westbrook, I said before, like it's coming to a point in time to where he just wants to be a solo act. Let's just call this what it is. He wants to be a solo act. I'm not saying he's stat padding. I'm not saying that at all. However, he care about his numbers, and he does, and that's what it is. And him not being the primary ball handler killed him last year, deep down inside. And you know what? He won't out, and it is what it is. And you gotta find somebody that's willing to take that contract. You gotta just call the Knicks and say, "Hey, you need a star. You need someone that's gonna, put some fans in the seats if they allow fans, or get the Knicks excited." So it's what I expected from the Rockets, and they should do it, and they should rebuild and start from scratch. I've been said this.
Chris, you along the same boat? Are we thinking burn it down for Houston?
I mean, originally, Coach Kim has been saying this, and I don't want to say I've been disagreeing, but I've been saying you don't need to do that. At least keep all the role players. The role players did their job. If anything, trade Russell Westbrook. But now he's saying he wants to trade out, and that's because I agree with Coach Kim. They didn't give Silas a chance. They're trying to trade everybody. I just don't like when they do this to coaches. They bring him in the team just to blow it up.
Exactly.
And then he's going to have a losing, a resume, and they're going to say, oh, he's in a good coach, but they don't look at the situation he was put into, and I feel like that's just unfair on him. But honestly, I think Russell Westbrook, I'm glad that they're trying to trade him. But for all those role players, I mean, they trade those role players, they might as well just kiss any aspirations to win a championship goodbye. And if that's the case, then they probably are going to trade James Harden. I don't think he really wants to go through a full rebuild. I don't think he wants to do that where his career is at right now. I think he really wants to win. So I don't know if he's really going to demand for a trade. I'll read that later. I don't think if he's really going to demand for a trade, but if they start trying to trade everybody else, then he's probably going out of here. And yeah, to the Knicks for Russell Westbrook, or I'm hearing reports to the Charlotte Hornets.
I'll take that. Yeah.
Regardless, they need picks and they need young players and they need a big man. And both those, situations can provide a big man. But when I look at James Harden, I heard he said he wouldn't mind going to Philly. But I'm just going to say that.
Philly too, yeah.
If James Harden comes to Philly and it costs me Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid, I'm saying this on camera, on live, November 12th, 10:44 Eastern Standard Time. If James Harden gets traded to Philadelphia for one of those guys, if he doesn't win the championship, and because our window is going to be 3 to 5 years, because that's what the coaching staff and the GM, whatever's on contract for, there's going to be major problems. I'm not going to be happy until he wins a championship. So he can average 35 a season and take us all the way to the East. He can take us to the finals. I'm not going to be happy unless he wins it. So if we make that move, we better win a championship, because if not, it's just a waste of a trade. I don't see the Sixers. I do like him on the Bucks. I'm not going to lie to you. I think him and Giannis would be a cheat code, but they'd have to give up a lot. They could do it. I would love to see. They might as well do it. Yeah, that's nasty right there.
I like that.
You got to get Hill, probably Bledsoe, probably some other. Yeah, everybody can go. Honestly, you can give up a lot of players
as long as you keep the two.
As long as you keep them two. If you got to get rid of Chris Middleton, get rid of him too. Because James Harden's gonna be that guard. Just get you somebody to play defense and shoot the ball. You put those two together, and I'm not saying they're running the East, but I'm saying that's a nasty duo. So contenders need to look into this if they can keep their roster intact enough to win something.
Yeah, no, I mean those two in Harden and Westbrook, obviously they have big personalities. They both are used to having the ball run through them in any system. Obviously Harden was a 6th man back in OKC, but ever since then he's been the lead dog everywhere he's gone. And so it comes down to your 2-star players are saying they want out. And I honestly think this has all started to go downhill upon the trade of Clint Capella. I mean, I thought I loved Clint Capella out there in Houston. I think he's a great big man. I thought it was nice. I think it's a great addition for Atlanta. I think Atlanta's onto something out there whenever he's there. But I mean, him being away from the Rockets, I think the Rockets getting rid of him was a terrible decision. And now, I mean, the other players are voicing their opinions on it. I think it's really kind of showing what everybody thinks about Houston. And I mean, if you're a Rockets fan, you have to be kind of concerned. But here's my biggest concern out of all of it. After all these 2 stars won out, they don't have a draft pick this year at all, first or second. They have no draft capital. So you need to find a way. If these 2 players don't want in, you need to find a way to get the most possible for these 2 players, because right now you're not banking on the draft. That's not happening. You literally don't have a pick. You have no investment in the draft. And so it's going to come down to what you can get in return for the 2 guys. And so we'll see exactly what happens with the Rockets regarding that. But speaking of the draft, let's talk about some players that we may not necessarily be looking at right now. I mean, we've talked about, we've mentioned the names LaMelo Ball. We've mentioned James Wiseman. We've mentioned Anthony Edwards. Let's talk about some sleeper picks in the upcoming NBA draft. Chris, I'm going to start with you. Who is a sleeper that you're looking at going into the draft?
Well, this is not my pick, but I just want to shout out to him because I feel like, he's a guy that's getting slept on. Cole Anthony, I think he's going to do his thing in the NBA. Hopefully he goes to the Phoenix Suns. But my sleeper pick is Jalen Smith, big man out of Maryland. I think he's a guy that Boston is pick number 14. And if I'm them, I'm taking that pick. The Nets have been interested, that the Nets are interested in him. They do that, then they're probably going to trade away, like, Coach Cam said, could trade away Jordan or Allen, some of those pieces to go get a James Harden. But I love Jalen Smith coming out of Maryland. I mean, this is a guy that's giving you a double-double, basically 16 and 11, 2.5 blocks, shooting 37% from the three-point line. He's a guy that's a rim protector. He can score in the post. He can stretch the floor out. And I think, with this day and age in the NBA, if you got a center that can, space the floor, but also post up in the paint, that can defend the paint, that can rebound, that's a gem right there. And, I think really the player that does that the best, that doesn't have, the biggest name to me is Miles Turner. I think, you put him on a contender team, he's going to dominate. Now, I feel like that with Jalen Smith. He needs to work on some things when it comes to defense, like perimeter defense. But all in all, you put him on a contender team, especially a young team like the Celtics. I'm not saying I'm worried as a Sixers fan, but I'm noticing.
Cam, we're going to go over to you. Who's a sleeper pick? Who's a name you got an eye on if you were a GM in an NBA draft?
The name I would look for, especially if I'm in the lottery, and he'll probably go anywhere between 6 and 8. And I mentioned him on the last show, is Tyrese Halliburton, the point guard out of Iowa State. He got hurt in the middle of the year and was out for the year. But this is a 6'5" point guard, who can improve his shot a little bit. But that's something that it could definitely improve. Like, he got the touch for it. He can get to the bucket, makes other people better. Averaged about 16, 6 and 6 in college. And anybody know if you're averaging like 6, 7 assists in college, that's a nice amount of assists. Especially college game is more pass and cut, things like that. It's not more ISO or a lot of it is some pick and roll, but you basically running a lot of sets, so it's hard to really get assists. The assist number is high in college like that. So, Tyrese Halliburton, he's a good playmaker for others. And I think like I said, if he would have finished out the season, I think you would see him being talked about in the top 3, or top 5, because he's a player that can make others better around him. So Tyrese Halliburton, if I'm, any team, and possibly, even if, I don't understand why the Bulls are looking at trying to get guards for, point guards for, I don't understand, but, but if I'm a team in the lottery that needs a point guard, and Pistons. It's obviously not the Pistons, yes. If you're the Pistons, I'm all over Tyrese Halliburton if he's there.
Fair enough. Going over to mine, I'm going right around a pick spot that Chris mentioned. He had mentioned somewhere around 14, I want to say 14, 15. This is a guy projected just to go just a little bit underneath that. He's looking at a lot of boards around 17. I'm going with Precious Achiuwa from Memphis. He's a 6'9", 225 power forward. As a South Florida alum, I got the privilege of being the voice of our athletics for our student radio, and I got to see Memphis come in. Luckily, they were missing James Wiseman, so I didn't have to see him go up against my team. But man, you want to talk about a guy who filled in. Precious Achiuwa was absolutely dominant in the American. He averaged 16 and 11. He won the conference player of the year. He was first in the conference in rebounds, third in the conference in blocks. This guy has a super high motor. I've seen him play at the power forward position. I've seen him play at the center position. This guy has a very high motor. He is very quick. He's a great defender, an amazing finisher, a very good big man whenever I watched him play. I mean, very exciting to watch. It just, the only thing I can think of, I mean, he needs a little help on his free throw shooting, but I mean, that'll come in time. I mean, you're a big man. You're not always going to be the best free throw shooter. So, I mean, but whenever it comes down to it, this guy is a very high electric kind of player to watch. I think he's kind of slept on with a little bit of the other big men. I think he's kind of looked at a little bit past, but this man stepped up for James Wiseman whenever he was missing time throughout the season, and Memphis stayed a very good basketball program. So I really like Precious Achiuwa, and I think that he is a good name to be looking at whenever you're on the clock later on in those lottery picks. I believe Minnesota has the 17th pick too. Could be there, or would it be best if they take Ball first overall? I mean, I guess that's kind of up for debate. I mean, I know we've mentioned that if it's gonna be Minnesota at 1, don't take Wiseman. I know that's been mentioned. Yes. Obviously, big man, but LaMelo might not be a horrible fit out there. But it is.
Him or Edwards is fine.
Yeah, and then with that, if y'all draft one of them, it would make some sense to maybe trade that 17th pick. Try to get some good players. See if you can get some good role players. But at the end of the day, if you want to keep it, I think, you go get somebody that can play that small forward, power forward position, or you can get another guard if you want. Tyrese Maxey's up there to be drafted. RJ Hampton is around that range. Patrick Williams from Florida State is around that range. So it all depends where the chips fall. I don't think, you really need another point guard, but if you can get a scoring guard, I think that will help.
Absolutely.
Tell you what, we got 3 more topics we're going to try to hit here real quick. We have to scrap one, but let's try to hit these 3 topics. Let's start with there's been a lot of trade rumors heating up. The NBA is getting into a very interesting time. Free agency is just right around the corner. The trade market is going up nuts. Coach Cam, I want to get your opinion. What is a trade you would like to see to happen this NBA season?
Oh, man, trade I would like to see. This is interesting, because, obviously I want to see, my Mavericks make a move. I want to see my Mavericks make a move for a wing. And like I said, I really want to see us go after Victor Oladipo. I don't care if it's a 1-year rental or not. That's fine if it's a 1-year rental. That means he comes off the books, and then you get a chance to get Giannis, which we already trying to set up for anyway. So it'll give us more wiggle room. But I would like to see Victor Oladipo, another scorer that could take pressure off of Luka on the perimeter and can also defend. Now he would be, responsible for, defending, the top, perimeter player, offensive player on the other team. Something we need a little help with. So I think him, and if hopefully, in that trade we can keep Dorian Finney-Smith. You got those 2 on the floor. That really helps your defense. And, of course, you got Kristaps on the back end. So that really helps you on the defensive end. And then you get, more consistency on the offensive end. Tim Hardaway Jr. would probably be one of those pieces that will have to go. And I would hate to see him go because, he is a spark plug. However, Tim Hardaway could get you like 21 night and then 9 the next on like 3 or 14 shooting. So he's so up and down. But I would like to see my Mavericks get Victor Oladipo. I think that would be a good fit, for us, and that make a push for the Western Conference.
No, take that off. Sorry, Kendall. We gotta take that off, my friend.
I like that, Drew Holiday. I'll take that too.
He coming to Philly.
I'll take that too.
Is that the trade you're going to be talking about, Chris?
Listen, I want the old squad back. We should never blow it up when we did. Give me Iggy back. I want Lou Will back, and I want Drew Holiday back. I want them all back. But the one that I could see really happening, though, on a serious note, is Drew Holiday coming back. I mean, you're talking about a guy not even just coming back. I want to see Drew Holiday on a contender team. I want to see him on the big stage so he can get the credit he really deserves. This is by far, it's not even close, the most underrated player in the NBA. If you ask all these NBA players who's the best defender in the league, majority of them are saying Drew Holiday, from the Kevin Durant's to the Dame Lillards. The top scorers in the game are saying Drew Holiday is this best defender, and that's what he is. Drew Holiday is that guy. And we have enough to get, honestly, I would like to see the Wolves trade the top pick because I don't want I don't. You don't want that. Trust me, you don't want that at all. You don't want that. Get LaMelo. But when I look at Drew Holiday, I just want to see him on a contender. And when I look at the Sixers, we have enough pieces, honestly, if they really wanted to get really honestly, I think whoever we want. We have 5 draft picks this year. Any team can flip those if they want. Then we have Harris. We have Al Horford contract we're trying to get rid of. We have Josh Richardson. We have some good young guys. So we can definitely make that push to go to Drew Holiday. But if we don't get him, I would like to see him on Miami. I would like to see him with the Bucks maybe. I just like seeing him somewhere with a top team that has a chance to win the championship. Even him to the Mavs. He's a guy that, even if you have to get rid of Finley Smith and you can keep Tim Hardaway, you could do that with Drew Holiday because he can guard that 3. Drew Holiday is a beast. I just want to see him on a contender team. Not, for the future, the Pelicans, they're going to be nice, but for right now, it's not it for them.
I tell you what, I saw a trade rumor come up today, and it was interesting. I know you mentioned Devin Booker's name earlier, but this doesn't involve Devin Booker. It involves his team. It involves the Phoenix Suns. Wow. I really like the idea of Chris Paul to the Phoenix Suns.
I said this months ago. People on this show. They called me crazy. I said this months ago. They called me crazy when I said places I would like to see Chris Paul go. That's all I have to say about that. I said it months ago.
I mean, when you look at it, look at their starting 5 with Chris Paul. Let's just say it. Let's take their starting 4 that they already had in Devin Booker, Kelly Oubre, Dario Saric, and then also DeAndre Ayton, and then throw Chris Paul in there. I mean, running the whole offense through him, and, it gives Devin Booker a break. Devin Booker can go out to be more of a shooting guard as opposed to a point guard where he has to run everything through him. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see that Suns team if they can keep everybody. And then not to mention Mitchell Robinson on the bench. I mean, this guy's coming off the bench, and he's been absolutely fantastic in that role. I mean, it's going to be a dangerous Phoenix Sun team if they can get CP3 out there at the 1. So I saw that report today, and that kind of like hit me a little bit. I was like, that's not a bad move. So let's move on to Lonzo Ball. Let's talk about we talked about LaMelo a little bit. Let's talk about Lonzo. Is this his breakout season? I mean, the statistics have been moving upwards. They've been trending upwards. But is this the year that he's really going to break away from the pack? Is he going to show us that he is worth that number 2 overall pick? Let's hear it, Chris.
I definitely, I've been a fan of Lonzo Ball. Since especially in college, I feel like he showed that he's really that top guy. I'm glad he finally changed his jump shot, to where he's comfortable. If he didn't want to change it, I'm not that type of person to tell somebody how to shoot, because at the end of the day, if they're not comfortable shooting that way, they're not comfortable. But the fact that it looks like he's comfortable right now, then I think that's a good thing. With me, Lonzo is one of the best defensive guards in the game. I think he established that. He's a guy that pick you up full court. His offensive game is improving. For me, for him to really take that next step, his finishing has to improve. And especially with those floaters he likes to take, those layups he likes to take, and he has to, his jump shot just has to improve even more. But I think next year with a good head coach and a good system, we're talking about Lonzo, I think, averaging upwards of 15 and maybe 8, 9, possibly 10 assists next year.
Coach Cam, you along the lines, is this a breakout season for Lonzo?
Nah. I mean, I just feel like I like Lonzo Ball. I like what he brings to the table. But far as breakout, I mean, what are we considering breakout season here?
Huge improvement from last year to this year.
No. I think Lonzo, I just think Lonzo is what he is. And like I said, I like his vision. I like his defense. You know what I mean? I think he's a very good quality NBA starting point guard. But if we want to talk about a fringe all-star or something like that, or break out to something like that, the answer is no. The answer is no. He has to get tougher. He like to say, the finishing has to improve. The shot has improved a little bit, but he's just not aggressive enough for me. He's not aggressive enough for me. And as far as having a breakout season, no. I think he's the NBA quality starting point guard in this league. But if we talk about busting out to be a fringe all-star, I just don't see it.
I just want to comment on this. If this happens, the NBA will be in trouble because nobody's going to stop them. I'm a firm believer. People call them crazy. They called him crazy, but he's about to have 2 sons drafted in the lottery in the top 5 to be specific. So they call him crazy, but everything he said come true. And I think Jello should be playing football right now. He's not saying he's a bad basketball player, but he'd be like Antonio Gates and Jimmy Graham right now if he's in the NFL, dominant.
Mhm.
But if you put LaMelo and Lonzo in the same backcourt, I'm sorry, it's over. Man, y'all don't want to see that. Come to Philly and do it. Ben played the forward with that. I'm cool.
I tell you what, you guys know more about the basketball game than me, so I'm gonna stay out of this one. I'm gonna give you guys the final wrap up topic. We're running out of time here, but I do want to hit this one real quick. I'm gonna do like we did last week. I'll give you each a minute. You guys can hit up on these top 3 players that we are here to rank. I'm gonna start with Coach Cam. We're gonna go with you first. We got Trae Young, we got Ja Morant, and we got De'Aaron Fox. Where do you rank those 3, 1 through 3? Coach Cam, you have the floor.
Oh man, 1 through this is tough. This is a good question. I got a minute, so I'm just gonna name them out. 1 is Trae Young. You know what I mean? I do think Trae Young is number 1. What he doing? 30 and 10. I'm not saying I just want him to. In the East, I know they didn't have much, but I expected a couple more wins. I always say that for people. People be like, huh? I'd be like, yeah, I expect more wins out of Trae Young, especially when you're putting up 30 and 10 in the Eastern Conference where the AFC is up for grabs. I need you to be closer to that. But, the numbers speak for itself, and I think he's balling. Number 2, Ja Morant, man. I'm going right in order. Ja Morant, yes, Ja Morant he almost pulled it off, man. Leading that young Grizzlies team to the playoffs. You talking about, a 20-win team or 19-win team the year before, and to make it, almost make it to the playoffs there. I think, that stop between then and the bubble really hurt him. And 3, De'Aaron Fox. You know what I mean? He's a baller. I love De'Aaron Fox. I love his speed, his quickness. He's up there top, as far as, quickness end to end with the ball of anybody in the league. I think what hurts him in this instance is the team he plays for. In this instance, as far as the Kings, they're just not good. And I thought they would take that step after that year before they won 40 games, and they took a step back this past year. So I put them in order, just like that: Trae Young, Ja Morant, De'Aaron Fox.
All right, Chris, you got to take us home.
Okay, everybody's gonna call me crazy for this, and honestly, I don't care. Yeah, actually, you asked me. I'm gonna go 3 for 1, 3-1. Number 3, I have Ja Morant. He did this thing his rookie year. Yes, I have Ja Morant number 3. He did this thing, his rookie year, taking that team to the playoffs. Him and Jaren Jackson is going to be probably one of the best duos in the game in the next 5 years. Jaren Jackson, the power forward that we talk about underrated basketball players. He needs to be on everybody's list. I hope he gets some more recognition for his gameplay. But Ja Morant's good. He's going to improve. Jump shot has to improve, but he's showing the willingness to take it. His playmaking is there. Freddie, you saying what? Yes, he's number 3. His playmaking is there, his scoring is there. Now I'm Mr. Delusional. Okay, stats speak for themselves. Nate, don't pull up his comments no more, my guy Nate. Number 2, this point guards I'm taking. Number 2, I'm putting Trae Young number 2. I'm putting Trae Young number 2. Yes, his offense speaks for himself. But who is he going to guard? Who is he going to guard? To me, out. I know you out. I want a complete basketball player. Nate, don't put no Freddie things up there no more. To me, I want a complete basketball player. You know what Trae Young is doing on the offensive end. I mean, that's bound to happen when he's the only, good offensive player on that team. He's going to put up the numbers. He's a very good point guard. He's going to score the ball a lot. He's going to get the assists. But, yeah, who is he going to guard? You're making that face, but if he has no defender next to him, he's going to get destroyed on the defensive end. Number 1, I have De'Aaron Fox. I think De'Aaron Fox is more complete out of all of them. De'Aaron Fox, his game improved from year 1 to year 2 to year 3, from 11 to 17 to 21. Freddie, I don't understand how I'm disrespectful. Like, I just want to address Freddie. He always wants to say somebody's disrespectful. You act like I'm saying the 15 guy off the bench is better than this man. Listen, Darren Fox is doing his thing. His game is improving every year. He averaged 21-7 this year. Like I said, I think he's the most complete basketball player. I think his organization has failed him. You want to talk about failed organizations in football? Let's talk about the Sacramento Kings, who mess up draft pick year after year after year after year. He's really the only consistent guy on that team. Harrison Barnes has been nowhere to be found ever since him and the Mavs had a falling out. Darren Fox is number 3. How is he number 3? Please tell me when he did his thing the entire year, but his team failed him and everybody was hurt. Buddy Hield shows up one game and not the next. He got benched from Bogdanovich. He shows up from one game, not the next. Marvin Bagley still yet to play on a consistent level. If you put Darren Fox on a team with the Memphis Grizzlies, they're doing the same thing. Darren Fox is a baller. He's a beast. And he's my number 1. Trae Young can't guard nobody, and Ja Morant game to me isn't on Darren Fox level just yet.
Sheesh. I mean, you want to talk about for not having Freddie, man? There was some hot takes. I mean,
the Kings almost took somebody to he almost took a team to the playoffs. The Sacramento Kings were right there, so almost don't mean nothing. He didn't do it.
Well, the playing game was that. Does that count these days? I don't know.
No, but like that.
Hey, I'm just saying, moving forward, they might have it.
Which is crazy. It's just crazy. His team got demolished in those seeding games. Those 8 seeding games, his team got demolished. Fox hasn't done okay, Freddie. First of all, from his game improving year after year after year, how is that him not doing anything? This is why we call you Mr. Delusional. I just don't understand. Now, Cam, I can respect your list because I know you gave some facts behind it. But at the end of the day, am I right or wrong? Who is Trae Young going to guard?
He's weak on the defense.
Okay, and now I'm looking at what point guards I'm going to take. Darren Fox offense improves year after year after year. Trae Young defense can never improve because he's 6 foot 160.
I understand. I get it. It's just the dynamic of something with Trae Young being able to come off a screen and knock it down from 30.
You love it. I understand. You love it.
It's an energizer for your team. Ain't nothing like it. And his playmaking ability, and we talk about playmaking ability. His playmaking ability off the chain, giving you 10 assists, and now you about to get now he gets Capella that he can throw lobs to. Also, the John Collins he can throw lobs to. I'm just saying
when they win more than 25 games, I'm really going to take a listen though. I'm really going to take a listen.
I feel you, but the Kings ain't much better.
The Kings ain't much better. I understand that. But I mean, listen, what energizes me is point guard get the rebound, go coast to coast before teams even pass half court. I like that.
He's top notch, one of the tops in the game. Him, John.
I said that. I said if you put Bronem on that team, they're gonna do the same thing.
Yeah, I tell you what an episode full of some hot takes. I think it's definitely entertaining for everybody involved. I think everybody kind of got some. I don't think any topic we hit was kind of cut and dry. I tell you that. But I tell you what, a great episode from you fellas, and thank you everybody that's going ahead, commenting, liking, sharing, everything involved. Everything would be amazing. I would love to have you guys keep coming back. You know, we appreciate the support. It keeps us going, doing what we do. It's really nice to see that people want to be involved. They want to ask us questions. They want to be a part of the topic of conversation. So I want to thank everybody involved. And any closing words from you two?
I know I have something to say. Freddie, you're so lucky that two of my favorite players are on your team. I've been to Anthony Davis is one of the reasons why I love Kentucky, and everybody knows I'm a LeBron guy. Freddie, you're so lucky you're a Lakers fan, because if you were a fan of any other team, I would be killing you. Like, oh my goodness, I would be talking about your team every single day. But the fact that your basketball team has two of my favorite players, you're lucky. Oh, Freddie, I don't think everybody knows you're the delusional one. Nobody can ever take that role from you, because I give facts and everything I bring behind. You say Daniel Jones is the best quarterback in the league. You'll never be. That title will never be taken away from you, my friend.
Cam, any closing thoughts?
No, man. I remember I will say, and I always gonna say, somehow on this show, if any time LeBron name mentioned that MJ's the GOAT before we go.
Oh my God. LeBron's the GOAT. Let's end it off. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for commenting.
More minutes, I mean. Everybody for being a part of it. This was ASAP Real Talk here on the ASAP Network, and we appreciate y'all joining us. Until next time, we'll catch you later. Peace.
Peace.
All sports, all plays. Yeah. Hard sports all plays. Hard sports all plays. 365, we making the plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. Great eye in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace up the field, so type the laces. Hard sports all plays. Network. Hard sports all plays. Network. We on top of our game. Hard sports all plays. Hard sports all plays.